just pressing text.
Son, have you gone mad? We're in the middle of a match here.
Chill out, Dad. It's digital text on ITV. You press text, go to page 400, and hey presto, there's rugby, cricket and premiership pages for us football fans.
And we can watch the match at the same time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think I'm in sporting heaven.
Digital text on ITV has the latest sports news, results, analysis and debate. Just press text on your digital remote from any ITV channel.
I could feed the family for $9.99.
Great, she hasn't cooked.
Completely confused by multivitamins? Well, Sanatogen Gold contains all the important vitamins and minerals, and also includes lutein. When we say we're complete, we mean complete. Just think of the difference that could make. Sanatogen Gold. It makes complete sense.
Over time, skin loses firmness and wrinkles deepen. So Garnier Skin Naturals has created new Ultralift Firming Anti-Wrinkle Cream. Ultralift, with specially selected ginger, captured in its purest form, has been judged best in category. It uncreases skin in just 1 hour. In 2 weeks, even deep wrinkles are visibly reduced. And our research is supported by the British Skin Foundation. New Ultralift from Garnier Skin Naturals. Garnier.
University of Derby. Plug in to your potential. Call us on 08701 202 330.
At Comet, we check thousands of prices every week, like this Samsung stainless steel fridge freezer for only £599. And the latest Philips 32-inch TV package for only £1,499. Comet, we live electricals.
Who lets you build up a humongous 75% no-claim discount on your car insurance? Esure.com! Who do you think? Come on, give us a click.
We want our ensuite shower in here.
All right. You'll need a Saniflo for that.
A Saniflo?
It quietly pumps away the waste through small pipework. Like this.
It's easy to add luxury and value to your home with Saniflo pumping systems. From loft to basement, and most places in between. A downstairs loo, a kitchen or utility room, even a bath or shower room. Call Saniflo on 0800 072 8822.
Britain's biggest bed sale ends Monday 8 p.m. The bed of your dreams is here in Britain's largest choice. Right now, you can save 50% off thousands of beds in the Dreams Mega Sale. Like this deluxe divan set, save 50%, only $199. Or this luxury leather bedstead at a dreamy $399, it's less than half price. Plus, Dreams stock thousands of beds and mattresses for super fast delivery. But hurry, Britain's biggest bed sale ends Bank Holiday Monday 8 p.m.
Sleep on a bed of dreams.
The DFS sale is ending this bank holiday with great savings. Cozy up with the kids for $397 on this comfy sofa. And what everyone wants, a leather corner group, half price. There are amazing savings as the sale ends. You can snuggle up for £499 and it's real leather. 3 years free credit and everything's free for a year. Nobody does a sale like DFS. You'd be crazy to miss it. It ends August Bank Holiday Monday.
The Champions League trophy is theirs for keeps.
Liverpool are 5-time winners.
But the Reds are greedy for more. Now they're going after the Super Cup. But their opponents know what it takes to win.
They've crashed the Lisbon party and they're turning over the furniture.
And the Russians do not plan to surrender. Europe will see red. The European Super Cup final. Liverpool v CSKA Moscow. Friday 7:30 ITV1.
On Sunday at 5:30, how a 25-year-old woman achieved a millionaire property portfolio in just 2 years. Our House, Sunday at 5:30.
So you don't want what I busted got to buy for you. Your nights on the town, your fancy dresses. And these. I'm so sorry I inflicted these on you.
An incident of domestic violence occurs in the UK every 26 seconds. Known as the unseen crime because it usually takes place in the home, behind closed doors.
I think he'd actually come to finish the job, to be honest with you. I thought, if I don't get away, I'm going to die.
Just want him dead. Why should he live when he's killed my daughter?
I just wish that I could have done something to help her.
Domestic abuse is a serious problem for us at Walsall Police Station. It accounts for 20% of all our violent crime. Not only that, something of the order of 15% of all the times that police officers have to activate blue lights to go to an immediate response is because we are going to a domestic abuse situation. So it's a drain on our manpower and resources. However, that drain is worthwhile. We know, unfortunately, from bitter experience, that unless we deal with domestic abuse professionally and correctly, we could ultimately end up with domestic murder.
1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. And it takes an average of 35 incidents before she'll call the police. Shockingly, 2 women a week are murdered by their partners.
She never ever said he was hitting her. Although Marie asked several times, is he hitting you? And she'd say no. So what, you couldn't do much about it, really.
Sharon Franklin was living with Andrew Dexter. Her family believes she suffered violence and abuse throughout the relationship.
The last time she came up here was when she was looking for us in the street. And we picked her up, we brought her back, and she says, I just can't do this anymore.
Marie and Terry persuaded her to get away and stay with friends, but Dexter was determined to track her down.
But eventually found out where she was staying, and she come back home then. And he persuaded her to go back. I begged her not to go, but she went anyway.
While Marie and Terry were away on holiday, their worst fears for Sharon came true. It was left to their son John to break the devastating news.
Then he come looking for us and told us that she was dead under suspicious circumstances.
It was only then that Marie and Terry discovered the real extent of Sharon's horrific abuse.
Used a Stanley knife on her ears, a blowtorch to her feet and legs. She had 7 broken ribs, 17 scars in her head, bruising round her neck, various bruises and scars over her body, punctured lung.
You can't explain to anybody how you feel, and you just can't move on. And I say, I can't believe that anybody could treat anybody so badly. There's no need for it, really. As I say, we get angry, everybody gets angry, but there's no need to treat a person like that. You wouldn't even treat a dog that way. I just can't believe it. You know, it caused so many injuries.
Sharon wasn't Dexter's only victim. Hannah Westwood knows only too well she had a lucky escape.
When I was at home, he had full control, and I'd be in the room. I'd have a bucket so I could have a wee if I needed to. I had the dog on guard as well. Well, there was a little window in the room, and it didn't open fully. It had some sort of slats that opened, and I can remember sniffing the air at the slats because it was nice and cold and fresh. And I've heard people say, if a man ever hit me, then I'd be off. But that's just not the case, because it's fear that keeps you there. And he had come into the... I was getting ready for work, and he came into the room and he just kicked me as hard as he could in the ribs. So hard, it was awful. And I couldn't breathe, and I was screaming and screaming and screaming. And one of his friends was there at the time, and he came and he carried me to the car, and they took me to the hospital, where he was still threatening me at the hospital because I was showing him up. And after that, it took me about 2 weeks to recover from that. I couldn't go to bed, I couldn't get in the bath. I was poorly, and I realised that because I'd lost such a lot of weight, because of the stress that I was under, I thought, if I don't get away, I'm going to die.
Hannah did get away with the help of her mum, but Marie and Terry Franklin are still trying to make sense of their daughter's death, made harder by the lenient sentence handed out to Dexter.
The police were disappointed with the decision. I don't think they could believe it either. As I say, I mean, the court was packed, and I don't think anybody believed what he was saying.
It's those that's actually got the life sentence.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, all he's got is 7 years, which he's got to serve. And if he gets out, he can get a life. Sharon can't. Sharon will never, ever get a life again, will she?
Poor Sharon. And I just wish that I could have done something to help her.
The child protection advisor will go through.
To avoid more cases like Sharon's, a number of agencies meet regularly to discuss the vulnerability of women known in the area to be suffering domestic abuse.
Well, you're all right, because you finished.
Sherry Rogers has spent many years offering help and support to women at risk.
2 women a week are murdered as a result of domestic violence. Those are only the ones that we know about, we're sure about. What about the suicides that happen? In the time of leaving a partner is the time that she's most vulnerable. In fact, again, statistics will tell us that the majority of women who are murdered as a response of domestic violence, it's more likely to happen at the point of leaving or within the first 7 days of having left.
Claire Overton's story could so easily have ended in tragedy. After a difficult and violent marriage, she eventually left her husband, but he was determined to track her down.
He'd sent me a text all that weekend saying, every time you look in the mirror, you'll think of me. I'm going to make you ugly, and then next breath, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to do this. So I think the worst scenario would have been that he would have killed me. I think you've got the fear of walking down a road and he's just going to jump out at you somewhere. Or if I was actually wanting to go back home into my own house, not knowing if he was going to come in the middle of the night standing over you with a knife or something, or it was just not knowing was the worst fear ever. He broke into my parents' house through the living room window and came up the stairs, and he had a carpenter's knife. He smacked me at the side of the head to knock me out, and then started to cut me all over, and I was just trying to fight him off and pleading him to stop, and just thinking, this is it, really. And I think you actually go numb as well, to be honest. You get a period where you're just wondering when it's going to finally end, and you actually don't feel the cutting anymore. You can feel something, but you just can't feel the pain of it. It's like the adrenaline rush. And you do, I think it's a natural thing just to fight back in you. And I got to the hospital, and the nurse there was really upset when she saw me. And then I think I realised just how serious it was. And they wouldn't let me look in the mirror until I'd been to surgery and had it all stitched up. But it wasn't until that nurse really made me realise just how bad it was, because she just started crying when she was cleaning me up. And it took them all day to stem the bleeding, and she got that upset, and I just thought, God, it really was that bad, wasn't it? I really could have died today.
2 years on, and Claire is still coming to terms with the emotional and physical scars she's been left with.
2 scars down here, I've got a scar at the back of my neck where your artery is. I was very lucky with that. And it was like, it seemed as though he was like aiming for these areas. And then I've got a scar there and there in a triangle, so he missed my eye very luckily. And down my stomach, and that's about it. And then I've just got defensive ones, really.
Claire's ex received a 6-year prison sentence and is due for release in 2007.
I thought, well, I've got 4 years to do what I want, to get on with my life. A lot can happen in 4 years. I'll probably meet someone else, whatever, have another family, I'll be all right. But it's still there in your mind, in the back of your mind, when he's coming out.
In part 2, we see how GPS satellite tracking is being trialled in the fight to stamp out domestic violence.
The victim would hopefully feel protected enough so that she had, if you like, somewhere that Mark couldn't go to, she could feel safe.
My feeling is he volunteered for that tag to keep out of prison.
I've had my no-claim bonus for 40 years!
Oh dear. If only he'd insured his car with More Than.
Yeah.
Unlike other insurers, when you protect your maximum no-claim bonus with More Than, we promise to keep it protected for life.
That's lucky.
However many claims you make. And you could save up to 40% when you switch.
Yeah. 40! That's more than lucky.
To protect your maximum no-claim bonus for life, call us now or buy online at morethan.com.
It's 10% day this Friday and Saturday. And with 10% off everything, this ivory shower will be under £63. Homebase. Make a house a home.
We have a female with 20 serious hair trauma.
Ready? Clean her up. Give me 20 cc's of VO5 conditioner with a 5-vitamin complex. Hair dryer. Straightener. Clear. How are her 5 vital signs?
Shine, smoothness, manageability, strength, body, all looking good.
That's up to 5 times as shiny. Good job, everybody.
New Alberto VO5 shampoo and conditioner. Vitally alive hair from VO5.
Come on, man! Follow me!
The Dad's Army DVD and magazine collection. Now, for the first time, you can collect the complete series on DVD. Every disc features 3 classic episodes.
Last 5 rounds, rapid fire.
And there's a special Part 1 bonus, the original pilot. The magazine reveals what life was really like in wartime Britain.
Hey, don't lock it up a minute.
The Dad's Army DVD and magazine collection.
At MFI, the sale is on, with all sale items less than half price, plus 20% off throughout the store. This bank holiday, the place to buy is MFI.
So, we'll all miss Big Ern. No matter what. He never let his mates down. So, we're going to respect Big Ern's final wish.
Our possessions. Is this what we have become? Do they now possess us? We carry them wheresoe'er we travel, about our persons, but also in our hearts, as sparkling trinkets for the jaded soul, ready to amuse us at but one moment's notice.
Oh, do be quiet. The Renault Modus. The mini MPV with a clever little boot chute.
New Archer's Via contains less sugar. It's more refreshing, but it means less sugar workers. But thanks to our career refreshment program, we've found them new jobs. Now they're out of the fields and into the community, making life more refreshing than ever before. New Archer's Via. Less sugar, more refreshing.
Mission Impossible, Sunday at 9:30.
On parade then, please.
At Walsall Police Station, the team are preparing for a Friday night shift. Prime time for domestic violence incidents.
There are 2 cocoon watches and 2 police watches that you need to be aware of. Obviously, as you're aware, under the forced domestic abuse policy, we're obliged to issue these to you to ensure that the victims of domestic abuse receive the service that they're entitled to. Basically, we're asking you to make regular patrols twice a week for at least 6 weeks to ensure that the offender doesn't come back and cause any further problems. The cocoon watch, these are for high-risk victims. There are 2 children involved in this relationship. We're asking you to contact the immediate neighbours and speak to them about the concerns that we have for the victim. If any of those see the offender at the address, they're to call the police, and if you can let them know of bail conditions if they're imposed at the court.
It's the unknown, really, not knowing what we're going to come into when we get there, whether there's going to be violence, whether or not there's going to be weapons, whether or not when we get there the person who's actually called us still wants to make the complaint or is willing to let us in.
The way the police have managed domestic abuse has become more and more professional as time has gone on. We've learned from our previous mistakes and we've learned from the help of our partners.
I've been working with domestic violence officers who obviously know a lot about domestic violence, but I think what I've been talking to them about today is looking at it, trying to look at it from the point of view that women go through stages within the victimisation. What we're going to do then is we're going to look at the 5 stages model, and this is a way of looking at domestic violence, I think, from it helps us to see it from a multi-agency point of view, but it also helps us to recognise that... I think it's really important to remember that now one agency has the answer to domestic violence. If we had, we'd have solved it by now. It has to be a multi-agency approach. Women, on average, will go to at least 10 agencies in their efforts to move on from a violent relationship. We need to recognise what those agencies are, and we need to work well together. There's some wonderful examples of multi-agency groups working well together, but we need to get better at it, and we need to make sure that we find ways of working well, sharing information, and making sure that we can protect women and children.
Rachel is a single mum of 2 and has been involved with more than one violent partner.
I've had 3 violent relationships that he started to be violent towards me, mental torture, and then it did start physically as well. Whereas to the first time I had a mug of hot tea, threw down the stairs, it smashed and all the bits went over me, like. My daughter witnessed that. It was the second time he grabbed me round my throat that I did lash out back for the first time. I was scared, and the children were downstairs at the time. Then there was a time when I went out with my friend, who I hadn't seen for 7 years. It was on a Friday, whereas he'd normally go out with his friends, and that was it for the weekend, then come back when he felt like it. I walked back in the house. I got a taxi back. To me, he grabbed and dragged through the living room, and he was kicking me and hitting me. With my daughter, yeah, it started to make her ever so nervous, because she'd only hear the key in the door and she'd run and sit behind me or go upstairs and play in a room. So she was away from it. He put a stop to most of my family coming round anyway. I don't know whether it was his jealousy or he didn't want them to come round. So it was just me and the kids.
Women do tend to go on to other violent relationships, and I think this happens if they haven't been allowed to recover from the effects of an abusive relationship. The effects can be huge, and it will leave them with a vulnerability. And if that vulnerability isn't dealt with, if they're not allowed time to recover, then it may be that they will make wrong choices in their next partner. They may be looking for someone who is strong and protective, and that can turn into somebody who is abusive.
Do you know that they're going to do that? And it's like, well, you don't know they're going to do it.
Rachel's best friend Mary has also suffered at the hands of an abusive partner.
When the door's shut, nobody knows what goes on, do they?
Remember them phone calls I was telling you about? And
Yeah.
I mean, one time... You know, I did know a bit about Mark, you know, what he done with other women, you know, basically eating them and all that. And I thought, you know, well, he's not like that with me. He's, you know, different to me. My friends were saying, you know, don't do this. And I went, well, basically, I think you've got to go through these relationships and find out. And I did find out. My friends stopped coming round. I thought I lost all my friends. I really did thought I lost my friends through Mark. Said every time we come in, he's growling. He's not growling at you, he's growling at the kids. And Mark always had drink intake. When Mark has not got a drink in him, he's sound. I've got no problems. But when I used to see him just pulling the pull ring in that first can.
If I was working, I'd come home and have a drink. And that'd be till bedtime, skip meals, everything. If I wasn't working, it was even worse. Cause, you know, if I was rained off or no work on, I'd be sat home drinking all day.
For the first, what, about a year, probably just over the year, the relationship, it went okay. And I started to feel I was Mark's crutch. You know, when he wanted beer, I did go and buy him the beer. Things, you know, things like that. And, you know, Mark started hitting me in front of the children. I got so scared of Mark in the end. I got petrified of him. I was shaking. You know, if he'd move, I'd jump. You get hit, you get punched, you get the marks. The marks go, but the mental cruelty does not go. And looking back on my mental cruelty, I think, why did I go through it? How did, you know, basically the way I was going through it, and my answer is to that. Because I was a very weak person, and Mark controlled me in the end.
Perpetrators make their victims believe that nobody else would believe them anyway. They believe that they are the only people to be suffering this form of abuse in this particular way. Often don't even believe that it's abuse, because the process of the emotional abuse, the constant put-downs and name-calling, being made to feel absolutely useless and worthless, makes the woman so disempowered that she's not able to tell anybody else anyway.
Okay, in the flat.
Yeah.
Mark Taylor is the first man in the UK to be tagged for the crime of domestic violence. He makes regular trips to his local probation officer.
We've got satellite tracking, which is a pilot at the moment, and we're looking at how that can support the various agencies in managing the risk. The victim would hopefully feel protected enough so that she had, if you like, somewhere that Mark couldn't go to, she could feel safe.
I knew it was this or prison again. I mean, I've done a short term in prison. It's not a nice place. You know, at the time I thought, well, this might be harder than prison, but I was willing to try it, like.
My feeling is he volunteered for that tag to keep out of prison.
It's no hindrance. The one on my ankle's nothing at all. Now and again I've left the house and nearly forgot this one. Well, I live in a tower block. I've got to the base of the flats and have to go back for it. But no, it's okay.
What I did love about the tag, Mark could not come in my property at night. He couldn't come to the property at all.
It's worked in my benefit. I mean, it's a deterrent, but it's putting me back on track, if you like. I mean, I'm sorting my life out. I'm off the drink now. There's certain social circles I don't mix in now. And it's a good thing. It's, as I say, putting me back on track.
Hello.
Hi, Sarge.
Hi, Julia.
Right, just been to this incident, domestic. Believe you heard about it. Taken full details, statement, complaint, the 392.
West Midlands Police have reviewed national policy and have travelled throughout the country to get best practice. And what we've come up with is a system whereby officers will attend an incident of a domestic abuse situation and they will complete a risk assessment. That's a number of factors that may affect the behaviour both of the victim and the offender, and can risk assess just how dangerous each incident is. Okay, I see through looking at here that we've got a number of risk factors here that I think I share your concern with. The first thing is we really need to get this perpetrator now Do we know if he's driving a vehicle today or he's made off somewhere? Most officers are frustrated by domestic abuse. They find that this is a crime that wrecks lives and relationships, and they seriously want to make a difference. And by using the risk assessment process, by getting partners involved at the early stage, by making positive action where appropriate and getting a case through to court in the most professional manner, we think we're really making a difference.
If this helps just one girl to break away and stop living a life full of abuse, it's so hard though. I mean, people say, oh, if a man ever hit me, I'd be off. But it's just not like that. It's the fear of the consequences of leaving. But it can be done.
Don't suffer in silence like I did, as I see it. There is a time, you know, where you can speak out to somebody, even if it's your friend, your neighbour. Just try and get all the help you can, really.
Domestic abuse knows no boundaries, be it of financial status, social status, position. It affects every community. Some communities are more likely to keep that hidden, not want to bring the police involved in that. And I'd ask those people who are victims to see that there is support and that they need not suffer in silence after all these years and can make a difference.
It'll never happen again. No way. No way. I will never let this come in my home again.
The 24-hour domestic violence helpline is 0808 2000 247. That's 0808 2000 247.